Geography of Equatorial Guinea. The Republic of Equatorial Guinea is located in west-central Africa. Bioko Island lies about 40 kilometers (24.9 miles) from Cameroon. Anab Island lies about 595 kilometers (370 miles) southwest of Bioko Island. The larger continental region of Rio Muni lies between Cameroon and Gabon on the mainland. It includes the islands of Carisco, Alobi Grande, Alobi Chico, and adjacent islets. Bioko Island, called Fernando Po until the 1970s, is the largest island in the Gulf of Guinea, 2,017 square kilometers (779 square miles). It is shaped like a boot, with two large volcanic formations separated by a valley that bisects the island at its narrowest point. The 195-kilometer (121 miles) coastline is steep and rugged in the south but lower and more accessible in the north, with excellent harbors at Malabo and Luba, and several scenic beaches between those towns. On the continent, Rio Muni covers 26,003 square kilometers (10,040 square miles). The coastal plain gives way to a succession of valleys separated by low hills and spurs of the Crystal Mountains. The Rio Benito Bini, which divides Rio Muni in half, is unnavigable except for a 20-kilometer stretch at its estuary. Temperatures and humidity in Rio Muni are generally lower than on Bioko Island. Anoban Island, named for its discovery on New Year's Day 1472, is a small volcanic island covering 18 square kilometers (6.9 square miles). The coastline is abrupt except in the north. The principal volcanic cone contains a small lake. Most of the estimated 1,900 inhabitants are fishermen specializing in traditional, small-scale tuna fishing and whaling. The climate is tropical, heavy rainfall, high humidity, and frequent seasonal changes with violent windstorms. Location: Western Africa, bordering the Bight of Biafra, between Cameroon and Gabon. Boundaries: Equatorial Guinea's land boundaries total 539 kilometers. It borders Cameroon 189 kilometers in the north and Gabon 350 kilometers in the east and south. Maritime claims: exclusive economic zone, 200 mi 370.4 kilometers. 230.2 miles territorial sea, 12 mi 22.2 kilometers 13.8 miles. Climate: the climate of both the continental region and the islands is typically equatorial, with high temperatures, heavy rainfall, and much cloud cover most of the year. Local variations are due to differences in altitude and proximity to the sea. The wet seasons in the continental region are from February to June and from September to December. Rainfall is higher on the coast than inland. In Bada, the rainiest months are September, October, and November, with rainfall averaging more than 94 inches (2,388 millimeters) a year. At Calatrava, farther south on the coast, it sometimes reaches 180 inches (4,572 millimeters). Inland, however, rainfall diminishes. Pamizan, for example, receives only about 58 inches (1,473 millimeters). The average annual temperature is about 79 F 26.1 C, and is fairly constant throughout the year. The temperature maxima are somewhat lower than in Bioko. The relative humidity, however, is higher than in Bioko. Bioko has a rather debilitating climate. The so-called dry season lasts from November to March, and the rest of the year is rainy. The average annual temperature of about 77 F 25 C varies little throughout the year. Afternoon temperatures reach the high 80s F low 30s C, and drop to only about 70 F 21.1 C at night. Most of the time the sky is cloudy and overcast. Extreme rainfall occurs in the south, with rain brought by monsoon winds amounting to about 450 inches (11,430 millimeters) a year around San Antonio de Areca. Terrain: coastal plains rise to interior hills. Islands are volcanic. Irrigated land, NAKM natural hazards, violent windstorms, flash floods. Environment current issues, tap water is not potable. Desertification. Environment international agreements, Party to Biodiversity, Desertification, Endangered Species, Law of the Sea, Ship pollution signed, but not ratified, none of the selected agreements. Geography note, insular and continental regions rather widely separated. Extreme points. This is a list of the extreme points of Equatorial Guinea, the points that are farther north, south, east or west than any other location. Northernmost point Punta Europa, Bioko Island. Easternmost point the eastern section of the border with Gabon. Southernmost point Adai Banab Island. Westernmost point Punta Diasca, Anab Island. Note, technically Equatorial Guinea does not have an easternmost point as its eastern border is formed by a straight line between the 11 and 12 of latitude. See the map. Rio Muni map. Bioko and Annobon Islands map.